If you look back at your life and all you see is a trail of unfinished ideas, a dusty guitar leaning against the wall, a half-built website, abandoned baking equipment, and a random desire to suddenly learn martial arts, there's a quiet embarrassment that comes with it. It's a very specific kind of shame. Society already has a label for people like you. They call you a dilettante. They say you're messy, unfocused, or incapable of commitment. You start believing that something is wrong with you because you can't stay in one lane. You feel fake because everyone else seems to pick one thing and stick with it. You probably know the phrase, "jack of all trades, master of none," and you use it against yourself. But most people forget the ending. The full line says, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but often better than a master of one." Psychology tells us that this scattered feeling isn't a flaw. It's the sign of a nervous system built to adapt. You're not failing to specialize. You're unknowingly developing a rare mental structure known as an M-shaped mind. While the world pressures you to narrow down, your brain is preparing for a future where extreme specialization becomes dangerous. To understand where this anxiety comes from, we need to expose the lie you were taught. For decades, society functioned like an I-shaped game. It rewarded people who went extremely deep in one direction. It was a stable learning environment, similar to golf, where the rules never changed. Practice the same swing long enough and you win. But we don't live in that world anymore. Your brain senses that modern life is a wicked environment. The rules shift constantly. In a wicked system, specialists are fragile. When industries evolve, they break. That's why you drift naturally. One year you're fascinated by electrical systems and HVAC repair, and the next you're immersed in yoga, strength training, or mixing music late at night. From the outside, it looks like confusion. People might say you're strange or distracted. But what you're actually doing is collecting insight from unrelated fields. This is where things get interesting. Psychology calls this far transfer. Specialists rely on near transfer, solving familiar problems with familiar tools. You operate differently. You take ideas from one domain and apply them somewhere unexpected. Imagine a web developer who used to be a farmer and a beekeeper. On paper, those experiences seem unrelated. But they understand living systems, growth patterns, and balance in ways a screen-only coder never could. They don't just write software. They design ecosystems. That's far transfer. That's real innovation. You feel like an imposter because you're not the best at one single thing. But your real value isn't depth alone. It's your ability to connect. Realizing your curiosity is a strength feels freeing, but it doesn't erase burnout or the fear of falling behind. You watch people your age become executives or lead engineers, while you feel stuck restarting again and again. This happens because you misunderstand your own design. You're not T-shaped with one core skill, you're M-shaped. An M-shaped person builds multiple deep pillars connected by curiosity. But here's the danger. You can't build every pillar at once. If you try to master coding, write a book, and launch a business in the same month, everything collapses. People who thrive this way practice something called serial mastery. Life has seasons. Your 20s might be devoted to art and music. Your 30s may shift toward programming to support stability. You didn't abandon art, you completed that phase. I once read about a 53-year-old who finally accepted this truth. He stopped forcing a choice between creativity and structure. Programming paid the bills, while music, philosophy, and game design lived on evenings and weekends. He turned down leadership roles to protect his time and energy. He didn't rush to combine everything. He allowed each interest to exist in sequence. Eventually, they merged into his own game projects. That's the M-shaped life working as intended. There's one last psychological advantage you have, rooted in evolution. It's called redundancy. In nature, redundancy isn't wasteful, it's survival. Elephants resist cancer because they carry multiple copies of protective genes. If one fails, another steps in. Your many interests work the same way. If you're only a specialist and technology replaces you, panic sets in. But if you're a developer who can also fix machines, handle wiring, teach language, and adapt quickly, you're resilient. You didn't waste time exploring. You were building adaptability. You created a safety net of skills that lets you pivot no matter how the economy shifts. So stop apologizing for unfinished hobbies. They weren't mistakes. They were semesters in a university you designed for yourself. You were never meant to be one thing. You were meant to connect worlds others can't see. If you're ready to accept your M-shaped path, drop a heart in the comments. And if you want the research-backed guide to structuring your seasons, subscribe and check out the newsletter in the description.